Many are the troubles of the just man, but out of them all the Lord delivers him. What does that mean? Well, my perception of what that means is not some deity up in the sky watching over me, delivering me out of all my troubles, but yet a self-correcting program, I say, within myself, which comes from God, if you like, or the God in me, the God in you. I used to think of God as a deity up in the sky, and I often wondered when I was a child, how can he watch everyone? How can he be looking out for everyone? Especially when some people got hurt, killed, terrible things happened to them. Surely God wasn't watching out for them too, was he? Or was it, or she? And what pronouns should you use? Oh, because we're all into pronouns nowadays. But I even wondered back then, before all that started, shouldn't it be better described as an it? Because if it is an omnipotent God, it would be indescribable. And some people say, and it's written in many texts, religious texts, that God is love. Okay, if God is love, how could he be jealous, angry, frustrated of people? Because that's the way he's described in some religious texts, if God is love. So for me, I think people have tried to describe an indescribable God. If God is omnipotent and he's the creator of all things, even though when we say that, we mostly think of an entity creating something. But once again, we're describing something that's indescribable with our limited vocabulary. Do we think that we are the apex of civilization, the uppermost intelligence? Surely not. And if there was a greater intelligence out there, which I believe there is, would they want anything to do with us other than try to help us convalesce along the way to a higher consciousness or to a better form of humanity? We are warring individuals, and we have been warring individuals since the beginning of recorded history. At least from what I've studied, that seems to be, and we continue to do so. Now, we call ourselves civilization, but are we civilized? Is it because we found a better way to eliminate each other by pushing a button, by flipping a switch? It's still boring humanity destroying each other for power, greed, lust of more of this, lust of more of that. So back to my original sentence, the Lord delivers him out of them all. Many are the troubles of the just man. What is a just man? I used to think justified, pious, religious. But you're justified by faith, justified by righteousness. And what do I mean by righteousness? No, not any religious term, but right thinking about everything and everybody. You've heard the old saying, look for the good in everything and everybody. And you've heard people say, it's all good. Well, it is all good if you have a goal, a dream, a vision, which each of us have had one of those planted within us. We may push it down, we may try to justify not pursuing it, we may put it off, we may procrastinate about it, but yet we all have it within us. The question you have to ask yourself is, are you pursuing that vision and that dream? And if you are, then you're doing what you came here to do. And you must continue to think righteously about that and about everything, which means to think positive, to look for the good in everything and everybody, in every situation. Now, I know that's difficult to do because we live in a world that magnifies and focuses on the negative. If you would watch the news, you would think everybody in the world is in a war. But I would venture to say that it's probably less than 1% of the population, way less than 1% of the population are warring today, even though we are warring, we have been warring individuals since the beginning of time. The biggest majority of people are not in war, nor do they want war. Yet history records the great battles. They don't always record the great loving acts of kindness. You have to look for those. You have to look hard for those, but they are there, and there are many of them. Take example, a rich man today goes out, gets drunk, has a car accident, and he gets picked up by the police. Front page headlines, maybe all over the world, depending on how famous he is. If he's the president, well, we know it's going to be all over the world. Although I doubt they would give him a DUI. Take the same president, he's out walking down the street with the security guards, and he stops and sincerely talks to a young lad and gives him $1 to get an ice cream cone. That might make the local news. It might not, but that's an act of love. These things don't make headline news stories. The news wants to keep you in fear, anxiety, and frustration because you can't do anything about these terrible things that they tell you are going on, which many of them are not even true, or they're slanted or written so to add a little drama to it. But you need to avoid these things to continue to think righteously according to the law, the laws of the universe, the laws of God, if you like, the laws of nature. Everything operates by law. I've said it many times, the law of gravity. You can't see it, you don't have to believe in it, but if you climb up a 2-story building and jump off, guess what? You're going to hit the ground. Gravity pulls you down. Just like the law of gravity, there are many other laws. And if you think badly about your neighbor, which is anybody other than yourself, you're thinking badly about you. And that comes back on you. You reap what you sow, in thought, in deed, in word. So what are you thinking? Are you thinking righteously? It's not just about positive thinking and focusing on what you want. It's about focusing on the good in everything and everybody. And I know sometimes it's hard to find good in some people, but you can find it if you look for it. And the more you focus on that, whatever you focus on expands. You bring more of that into your world, into your life. If you're in financial problems, most of you and most of us, and I've done it too, focus on our lack. Focus on the abundance. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. I used to live by that too. So I was afraid to focus on what I was going to get, what was coming into my life. Because I thought that would somehow, how would I say, hex it or curse it, and I wouldn't get it. You need to focus on what's coming in. Focus on what you desire, not on what you don't want. Many people say, well, I think about money all the time and I still never have enough, because they're always thinking about what they don't have, how they're going to pay the bills, how they're going to get it. There's never enough of it. They can't afford this. They can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. These are their dominant thoughts throughout the day. But you can change that. You can change that. And according to the law, if you change your thinking, you change your life. Everything emanates from within you. If your outer world is a mess, your inner world is a mess. You're a mess in here. You have anger, resentment, unsolved situations that you need to go back and take care of with your fellow man or your fellow employer or whatever it happens to be. Nothing goes unpunished. But it's not a God out there that punishes us. It's the God within us. We are made for self-regulating, regulating. And it's not a punishment, it's a corrective measure, a corrective mechanism that shows you what you need to do differently to make your life better, to be happier, to be more fulfilled. And isn't that what we all want? If you think by getting that Lamborghini or that $100,000 a year job or that new car, or that rental, or that new house, whatever it is, it's because you think you're going to feel better. You're going to feel more secure. You're going to feel happier. The law of reciprocity, why don't you feel that now, and then this will come. Feel as if you already have what you desire. As Jesus said, believe that you have already received it, and you shall. Okay, believing something means you feel something. If you actually believe you had what you desired today, you would have a certain feeling. But if you can hold that feeling dominantly throughout the day, the next week, the next month, of already having that, then that will come into your life. Yes, it's magical, isn't it? But it's not magic at all. It's just the law. There's nothing fantastic about it, although it seems miraculous when it happens. It's happened in my life in negative ways and in positive ways. What I feared, what I greatly feared, came upon me many times in my life. And what I greatly desired came to me many times in my life also. It works both ways. And you're using that law every day. So stop and ask yourself, are you thinking righteously today? Or to take it out of a religious context, are you thinking right? Are you thinking about what you desire, what you want in your life, as if you already have it? You can feel the feelings. If I use the old example, think about a lemon right now. Cut it in half and then squeeze it and put it in your mouth. You can taste that, the sourness, just so you can taste the feeling of your desires as if you already have them. Just take time to shut everything off. Just relax, take some deep breaths, calm your mind, and then think about your desires. Imagine them just like you did when you were a kid. As Jesus said, unless you become as a child, you will not inherit the kingdom of God. In the kingdom of God, you have everything you want. The kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It's not out there. God is closer than your hands and your feet, your very breathing, because you are God. Not the personality you, not this personality Mark, but that part of you, which is all of you, is God. Now, don't take me wrong. I'm not talking about the egotistical, I run the universe God. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the spirit, the essence of God within you, within me, within everyone. And when you look at other people, that's what you want to look for. If you want to be like God, you have to act like God. You have to think like God. And God only sees the good in everything and everybody and works out everything for good in everything and everybody. Now, with our limited thinking, we don't see how that can be possible because we focus on the negative. As I said, watch the news. The negative, the negative, the negative. I don't watch the news, and I suggest you shut it off too. Well, do you need to really be informed about 15 children being eliminated in the South China Sea? I don't think you need to know about that. Years ago, we wouldn't have known about it. You can't do anything about it. God forbid that happens, but there's nothing we can do about it. Can we do anything about the war in Ukraine? No, I can't do anything about it. You can't either. The best thing you can do about war anywhere is to fix yourself and stop the war within yourself. And when you have peace in yourself and all the people in the world have peace in themselves, then we'll have peace in the world. Seems far-fetched, doesn't it? But that's how it's going to happen. And as Jesus said, I did not come to bring peace upon the earth, but war, because of the different ideas of people. And look at the wars that have been fought over Christianity and the other different religions throughout history, because of his ideas are totally opposite and radical from anything people ever thought of before. Even today, when you talk about these mystical laws or these universal laws, God's laws, people still laugh and scorn because their eyes are not open. They all say it though, what goes around comes around, but they don't really think about it in that context. But that's the way life works. And when you live as many years as I have, you see it happen many times in other people's lives, as well as your own. So you start to make your life congruent with the law. And the earlier you can do that, the better your life's going to be. Whoever wishes to be great among you must be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humble, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted. The greatest successes in the world, contrary to what they might tell you about them in the news, because who knows what's true there and what's not, have been the greatest servants. They've given humanity a product, a service, something that they can use. So they're great servants of humanity. you too can be a great servant of humanity if that's what you want to be. Instead of going out there today and seeing what you can get out of life, ask God what you can give today. Ask the world what you can give. Ask life what you can give today. And the more you give, the more you get. It doesn't come back immediately, but it does come back to you, multiplied, overflowing abundantly. So, that's all I have for today. If you like this, share it with a friend. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for joining me. I will see you next time.